That's good. Hold up. Brother having his coffee right now.
At 5 o'clock at night.
Anytime is a good time for coffee. Matter of fact, while y'all are getting up in here, I'm gonna warm my coffee up a little bit. Hold on.
Oh, jeez.
Got a microwave up here in this open. Yeah.
I haven't gotten your notification yet.
Dang it. Well, we know how it is. The devil gonna get in the way.
Yep.
Y'all just like what I always think of that one comedian. He goes up on stage and he just starts making his coffee and stuff like that. I'm so professional. He's making his coffee. The whole audience is like watching her, like looking at him. He's like, "What? Like work is the first thing you do when you go to your job."
That's funny. That's good.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's because it's in the Sledge mug what makes it taste so good. And y'all don't get one. Well, I'd like to get you guys one at some point. Anyway, all right. Enough of my BSing.
Okay.
Let's get into it. Okay. So as you guys are coming in, you know the routine. How you guys doing? Thank you guys for showing up. It is always a blessing to see you guys as you guys come on up in here to hang out at the ZOpium Den with my goofy behind. And hit that share button as you come in. Tag your friends and all that sort of stuff. Now, when you guys tag, and sometimes maybe some of y'all don't have any success in trying to tag people and stuff like that. Maybe that's why you don't do it. I know that some people be trying real hard to tag tag me to make sure. I see other pages and stuff like that. But look, experiment when you try to tag. If you want people to watch and you try to tag and it doesn't activate, try putting the asterisk with their name and type in their name all as one word. So it's asterisk, type in their name as one word. What's up, Jason? How you doing, man? Thanks for showing up for the ZOpium Den. Type in their name as one word with the asterisk in front of it. If the name still doesn't tag, type the asterisk, type their full name, and then put a / at the end of their name. Try that. But I hope to see more of that, y'all. I hope to see folks tagging more people, with the ZOpium Den. If you guys think that what I'm saying is worth folks hearing, I mean, it might seem to be worth it for y'all because y'all show up, which I really appreciate. But if you think that this is some more content that y'all need, that you would like to see out in the culture, despite the insanity that's out there, well, tag folks. Once again, when you tag people, try putting, like I said, sometimes it seems like it doesn't always tag activate. When you tag people, put the asterisk first, type in their name right after that, all is one word, okay? And then if that doesn't work, put a / at the end of their name. You might get a tag activate. So I'm giving y'all the benefit of the doubt that the reason why I don't see more of y'all tagging folks to come and watch the show is because you may have a hard time getting the name to tag activate.
For sure.
I just gave you the formula for it, so I hope to see people trying it. All right?
What's the formula again? I didn't even hear it.
Asterisk. Type in the full name of the person that you want to tag, all is one word.
Okay.
All right, do that. If that doesn't work, put a / at the end of their name. After you type in the asterisk, name, all is one word, / and it should tag activate. All right.
Facebook makes it really easy, huh?
Yeah. Facebook, for some reason, when it comes to sharing my content, you guys know the story. Facebook makes it really hard. All the platforms do. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Google makes it hard to discover me, all that sort of stuff. But sometimes, if you want, you got to just take that little extra leap to try it. And like I said, I hope to see some of y'all trying that tonight. All right. So, all right, y'all. What's going on in Looneyville? The main topic of discussion that people been talking about is impeachment. I'm just going to tell y'all the same thing, right? Because there ain't no point in telling you anything else.
Yeah.
There's no point. We already know that between the transcripts, between the phone calls, between everything that we got, we know that the whole the Russian collusion and this whole nonsense, this ain't about coming after Trump for anything. This is about covering up Obama, Clinton, the Bidens. That's what it's all about. It ain't about anything else but that.
Yeah.
That's all this is a cover-up. That's all it is. Nothing else to it. But y'all, despite that, and despite all the I'm talking about the hard evidence that we're just throwing down, nothing else. It's like bam. It's what have I been telling you? Like a broken record. Y'all forgive me if I sound like a broken record. It's just sorry if I keep repeating this stuff over and over again. But y'all, and you know, some people actually get irritated about that. Like, Zoe, you say the same things over and over again. It's like you're irritated with me saying the same things over and over again. You need to be irritated when the Democrats do the same things over and over again.
Right.
They say the same stuff. They do the same stuff over and over and over again.
For centuries.
That's, well, I mean, well, for decades. I mean, Democrats have been around, I guess, when they start, 1838?
Yeah.
That's long enough. Mm-hmm. It seems like it's been for centuries, but this is,
like
this is how they operate, right? And they do the same thing over and over and over again, y'all. And there has to be as much patience and tolerance, patience and tolerance and stamina to repeat the truth as they have in repeating their lies.
Right.
Because that's what they do, y'all. They're the Democrats, and they're just going to keep doing it, y'all. That's just who they are. And it doesn't, with all the facts that we're putting on the table, all the reason, all the logic, all the analysis, y'all, that doesn't matter. They're going to do, hey there, Nancy, I see you. Groovy lady. They're going to do what they're going to do. And, conservatives need to understand that they've been engineering this for decades.
Yeah.
They've been at this. See, conservatives, man, I'm telling you, I know conservatives like to think that they're like trying to set up for the long game, but you're not. You're not. Conservatives, they want this immediate victory. They're just as guilty as wanting some sort of immediate victory as Democrats are. Even though Democrats are all about instant gratification, even though Democrats are all about entitlements and all that sort of stuff, and they want what they want, and they want it right now, and they don't care if it's Constitution, they don't care about whose rights they infringe on, they don't care about none of that. But here's the thing, y'all, they are willing to do the long game.
Yeah, for sure.
To get what they want. And they've been doing it, y'all. They've been man, and like a broken record, I've been saying it for years. Conservatives, you got to invest in the culture war, man. You got to invest in the culture war. This is why they're able to do the crazy stuff that they do, because they position themselves for the long game.
Absolutely.
They've been doing this, and right after Trump, conservatives, how did you not see this? How did you not see this? Right after Trump was elected, even before this, like they hated him before.
Yeah.
But right after impeachment.
Yeah.
Right after impeachment. And it's like, man, it don't take, it's like, one, you get over, it's like, impeach him for what? Impeach him for what? Nothing. Except for, and we saw this coming. Impeach him for what? Why? Because you know that you can't beat him in the next election. That's why you got to get rid of him. You got to get rid of him now. Because you can't beat him, right? So, but here's the thing, conservatives. How did you let this happen? You knew that they wanted to impeach him, and then conservatives just messed around and let the Democrats take the House.
So painful.
Why? Because so cocky. Cocky, that's why. Because conservatives think, we've elected Trump.
Yeah.
We got our political victory. Doesn't mean nothing. It means nothing. And I've been trying to tell conservatives that for years. But what's it's like, why? Well, it's like when it just gets frustrated. Like I said, like talking like to a brick wall. Because conservatives are all about the political victory. And a lot of conservatives out there, they're more conservative voters than they actually are conservatives. It's like they want to vote conservatives, but they don't act conservative. You meet some of these so-called conservatives, it's like, what's really conservative about you?
That's true, yeah.
It's like, like when they talk about the Hollywood conservatives. That's almost like a misnomer. It's like Hollywood conservative. What's really conservative about you?
We can testify to that.
You know what I'm saying? It's like a lot of them, they're either like, pro, some of them are pro-abortion. A lot of them are pro-abortion. A lot of them are freaking pro-legalized drugs. A lot of them, you got those who are agnostic or whether they're atheists. You got those that are pro-gay marriage.
They're afraid of guns.
It's like, it's like, really, what's conservative about you? Right. Not really much is conservative. So, but they vote. They'll vote, Republican. They'll vote conservative and stuff like that. And that's why I'm saying, dude, that's why this stuff is so hard. Because these people aren't consistent. It's like they want laws and they want legislators, that are conservative For what? Because we want to protect our rights to be left alone. Left alone to do what? Act like a bunch of liberals?
Oh.
That's really what it comes down to.
Oh, I never thought of that.
You know, that's what, y'all, I'm telling you, that's why we have so many, problems that we have, because people are not consistent. You know, even people who call themselves conservative aren't consistently conservative.
Yeah.
They're not.
That's true.
You know, so, and that's one of the reasons why we have such a hard time with this culture war. So, you know, but this thing that's going on with this impeachment, that's why. How had conservatives not lost the House, if Republicans not lost the House, we wouldn't be having a problem to this degree.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure.
But Republicans got cocky. They thought because they got their political victory while just losing it in the culture. You know, it's and you know, and people talk about, well, a lot of people out there that are actually, secret Trump voters. Y'all, a lot of that stuff is even though it may be true, it doesn't matter when you have this public perspective.
Right.
You know, it doesn't matter if it's a minority. It's like conservatives keep patting themselves on the back about this silent majority thing. So what? You got a silent majority, a majority that's quiet. Well, they've awoken a sleeping giant. Why was the giant sleeping?
Right. Yeah.
Should have been somebody standing watch. All right, but you got this silent majority against a noisy minority. And a noisy minority can do a lot of damage.
Amen.
Why do you think why is it that you think that it only takes, just because there's few of them, like when people talk about, it's like, why are we, you got some conservatives saying that, why are we making all these accommodations, for the LGBT when they make up like 1% of the population?
Yeah.
That right there should speak volumes to you.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
You want to talk about, because there's so few LGBT, look at all the damage they're doing.
That's true.
Right? I mean, it's like, and conservatives, they'll talk about, even conservatives, they get milk toasted about it, and they'll be like, what's the harm in gay marriage? What's the harm in it? Oh, so you don't think there's any harm in all of a sudden now the floodgates are open and you got 10-year-old boys dressing up like girls and stuff like that,
yeah,
and having their little drag contest party with gay adult grown men, throwing money at them and stuff like that.
Lord.
You don't think the molestation is ramping up, making it more acceptable? Oh, and by the way, it's becoming a little bit more. It's just little by little, it's becoming more acceptable to have love affairs with minors.
Yeah.
That's becoming more acceptable. Oh, it's no harm in it that now puberty blockers are being used.
That's sick.
If a little kid decides that, oh, you know what, I think a little boy wants to be a little girl, you can get him puberty blockers, and kids are dying from this.
Oh,
but for the left, that's an acceptable casualty. They don't mind, they don't care, as long as they're able to confuse the gender issue and have this self-righteous worldview, despite being so pro-science.
Right. Yeah.
They have the power and the discretion to be able to say, well, the science is wrong on that. We're gonna object to what the DNA code says, and we're gonna say that there's like 57 different genders if we want to. Right? That's where we're going. It's like, but no. You got some people out there, because liberty is so important to them. They idolize liberty. That's too many so-called conservatives do that. They're so hung up on liberty. They idolize liberty so much that they don't care that their idolatry of liberty is introducing more poison into the culture.
Wow.
They don't care.
Preach it, honey.
Because that's their God. Their God is liberty. Jesus is the author of liberty.
Amen.
Right? He is liberty himself.
Yes.
And if you don't take it to him, then you'll be going to something else, which is an idol and a perversion of liberty.
That's right.
That's what we end up with. So, but all these things, are coming down, and this is the insanity that's being promoted in culture. And that's why I say, y'all, with this impeachment hearing, man, I'm sorry, conservatives, you dropped the ball on this.
Yeah.
You just did. And you don't promote it in culture. Everything is politics. Everything is politics. I'm telling y'all, it's not sustainable. The culture is going crazy.
Yeah.
Right? So, and like, say for instance, and this is kind of off the topic, but kind of on, like we see this thing with with Seattle, and they had that stripper, that that transvestite, that transgender, whatever they want to call it nowadays. That's what taxpayers' money is going towards, right? And then people wonder why the homeless problem can't get fixed.
Right.
Now let's reflect on what Jesus said. Jesus said the poor will always be with us. And he said that for a couple of reasons. One of the reasons why he said it is because, the reason why I'm telling you that is because I'm reminding you is that I'm the same God that said that back in the Old Testament. I'm the same God that told you that the poor will always be with you. It shouldn't be. He said that. He said you shouldn't have any poor among you, but you're going to.
Yeah.
Right? But that's what he said. And he said that to Judas, your proto-Democrat, right? An early Democrat.
Amen.
The Judas who was trying to tell somebody else what to do with their property. Meanwhile, the whole time he was stealing other people's money, right? Typical Democrat.
Yeah. In charge
Satan,
of the money.
right? Satan was the first Democrat, but incidentally, no. By the way, it was actually Satan that jumped into Judas because he felt right at home there.
Yeah.
Because hey, it's a fellow Democrat, right? So, but here's Jesus, letting people know, what time it is in terms of people want to do something else with people's property, but that's just who they are. And so all that to say, y'all, when I was talking about, what was I saying about Judas? My camera, there was an earthquake in my phone booth.
Earthquake caused by the wife's foot.
You see how ghetto we are up in here, man. Any slightest movement, can't even hardly move up in here because
I had to cross my legs and move the camera. We were talking about Judas as the prototype Democrat.
Well, here's the thing, y'all. The Democrats, they feel like they can, they've been who they are for as long as they've been, and even with this this transgender stripper, here's the thing, y'all. This person, they had this conference or whichever. You guys probably know the story better than I do. I didn't. It's like I see what it is. I don't need to see anymore. But y'all, this transgender stripper is there, and who pays for that? That's this wasn't some privately funded thing as far as I know. But this is what I'm trying to tell y'all. A lot of people think that just because and Democrats, they love to promote this in the culture, that if something isn't for profit, or if it's a public venture or something like that, a subsidized, taxpayer subsidized thing, then somehow this is honest and it's good.
Yeah.
Right?
If it's a state-sponsored thing,
right? It's honest and it's good, and if it's nonprofit, it's like, wow. Well, we see, what it is that they do with your money. It's like you wonder why things don't get fixed. That's what I was trying to say. Jesus, thank you, Lord, for bringing it back to me. Jesus told us that we will always have the poor. He didn't. Jesus didn't necessarily, and y'all be careful with that, because Jesus didn't say that people will always be poor. It's like you're always going to be poor. No, Jesus said you will always have the poor, and there's a reason why we'll always have the poor. One of the reasons why we'll always have the poor is because you're always going to have somebody who's going to try to take advantage of them. Right? Wow. Enter Democrats. Democrats thrive off of the poor. Democrats thrive off of keeping people poor. This is one reason why we will always have the poor, and we will always have homeless people, because we will have Democrats who take advantage of their situation for their own well-being. Yeah. That's what they do. All right? So Jesus saying that, yeah, dude, you're always going to have the poor. And you got people out there trying to make a liar out of Jesus. No, we're going to solve the homeless situation. We're going to end world hunger. We're going to end poverty and all that sort of stuff. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're going to have to call Jesus a liar to do that. Jesus said you will always have the poor. You're always going to have the poor.
I never thought of that.
That's not a good thing. Jesus is not saying like that. Yeah. You'll always have the poor.
Yeah.
It's not that he's saying that's a good thing, but he's just warning us because of the nature of how we are. Because we keep screwing things up. Jesus is like, yeah, you're always, and you always have people who are going to take advantage of that. And that's where Democrats are. They take advantage of poor people. Right? They'll try to say that it's Republicans who do that. It's like, no, it doesn't work that way. And Democrats, they think that just because, like I saw some dude, man, he said on Twitter something about, is it necessary for a billionaire to have, $1 billion? And it's like, okay, back up, Judas. That ain't none of your business.
Yeah.
If this person has $1 billion. See, you just like Judas, you coveting somebody else's wealth. What do you think that person should do with that $50 billion? Give it to you?
Right, yeah.
Oh, you spread it around? Is that what you want the billionaire to do, y'all? For you leftists out there who think that it's wrong for a person to have $1 billion. First up, like Jesus said, that's none of your business.
Yeah.
But do you think that a person with it's like, man, do you think a person with $1 billion just has $1 billion and just keeps it under his mattress or something like that? Probably smart if he did, so people stop trying to, bite off of it.
Yeah.
But you know what a billionaire does with $1 billion? They help move economies.
Amen.
That's what it does. $1 billion. Well, it's like I guess you don't want a billionaire to have $1 billion. Well, I guess that means that you must not want a bunch of people to have jobs.
Right.
Because a billionaire helps to keep people employed.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You guys heard me say this before? It's like, yo, okay, a billionaire. It's like, oh, no, what does he need with 5 houses? Well, that's 5 houses. That employed a whole bunch of people just to keep that house up. Don't you want people to have food on their table, shoes on their feet, clothes on their back, and all that sort of stuff? Don't you want people to, well, you know what? Giving a person a job a lot of times is better than giving them money.
Right.
You know, here, I'm just going to give you money. You know, now how about I give you a job so you can sustain money coming in?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so what you need with that yacht for? Well, that's none of your business. But you know what? That yacht gives people jobs.
Right.
What you need with those 5 cars? That ain't none of your business. But those 5 cars employed a few people.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? You know, but no, you have these covetous, collectivist-minded people who think that, you know, having money is a bad thing. You know, loving money is bad.
Yeah.
Having money is not. You know, so and people
Exactly.
just don't seem to understand the
Yeah.
difference. You know, so. But at any rate, y'all, you know, to this, how that affects like this homelessness thing, you know, you wonder why homelessness doesn't get fixed. Because a lot of these people who have these organizations, these subsidized, you know, these taxpayer subsidized organizations, these nonprofit organizations and stuff like that, y'all, this is the thing with these collectivist, socialists, state-sponsored stuff like that. People act like just because it's not for profit, it's more moral. Dude, it's even more amoral. You know why? Because they're like, hey, what? I get paid just for showing up.
Yeah.
We gonna get our money. We subsidize.
Yeah.
We subsidize. They don't sweat it, man. That's why they do the crazy stuff that they do.
Like
and you wonder why stuff don't get fixed. You wonder why there's so many homeless people, people hungry and stuff like that out on the street. Because they ain't looking to solve these problems, man. They getting your tax money.
Exactly.
They gonna get that money anyway, and all they gotta do is just get up there and act like they care about somebody. They don't care about nobody.
Yeah.
They don't care. They getting that tax money. All right? But here's the difference with capitalism. In capitalism, in the free market, in capitalism, of course, once again, you can make money. It doesn't matter. Socialism, capitalism, doesn't matter. You can make money. It ain't about how much money you make. It's about what the state is allowed to take. In capitalism, the state has no claim over your income. Right? That's the main difference. But the thing with the free market, y'all, when we got a free market, here's the deal. You got to be more responsible for how you are with your clientele. You can't be fronting and acting like, I'm going to get paid anyway. You can't be doing that. You got to make sure that you're on point with your clientele. And in the free market, you know, if the free market is at least halfway in the know about stuff, the free market can say, hey, you know what? I don't like the way you do business. I'm going to go over here.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
I ain't even going to waste my time boycotting you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to find another service.
Yeah.
Right? Now, sometimes if there's a monopoly on something or whatnot, you know, then, you know, it's like, okay, well, we're going to have to pull some other things. But the thing is, generally, typically, there's usually another alternative. Mm-hmm. And you can exploit that alternative. So in capitalism, it gives you more of an incentive to be moral with your business practices. All right? And now, but once again, now people would say, well, how do you explain the business practice of slavery and stuff like that? Well, once again, Democrats. Okay? Democrats were the ones who want to keep the slavery legal, one, and Democrats made it legal. You know, they had the government protect, you know, their slave their desire for slave practices. But that's why people stepped up and says, you know what? This is an affront to the Constitution. We're going to have to go to war to end this.
Yeah.
This is going to have to stop. Democrats, you crazy. They've been crazy. So we're going to have to stop it. Y'all, if we don't start taking, you know, some cultural strides now, we can end up in a war again.
Lord have mercy, that's true.
It can be another bloody war. Hundreds of thousands. All right? Dead. And, you know, Republicans, come on, man. It can't just be about this political stuff. You want your political representation to be stable, you got to have cultural representation. But, you know, like with this transgender stripper, like what I was trying to say about, you know, people being for-profit and non-for-profit, I'm saying this because I know people really mean well. People mean well when they tell me this. They tell me this, and I've heard this on a few occasions, and I know they mean well, but at the same time, it's not as well-meaning as you think. I get people suggesting, hey, Zo, why don't you set your business up as a nonprofit? You know, maybe like for things like this, like the ZOpium Den, because it's ministry and stuff like that. They say you should set it up as a nonprofit, you know, and fund, you know, the productions that you do, like the ZOloft and all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, you know, that's nice of you to make the suggestion, but basically what you're telling me is that my content is not competitive enough for the free market. It's basically what you're telling me. What you're telling, because like, say for instance, do you guys send emails to Netflix and ask them to become a nonprofit? Do you guys send emails to like Mark Levin or to Rush Limbaugh or you know any of your favorite commentators? Do you send
Shapiro?
Yeah, Shapiro, the Daily Wire, any of them? Do you guys send emails to them and say that hey, you should set up as a nonprofit? No, you subscribe to them, you give them your money. You know, but when people tell me that I should set up as a nonprofit, basically what they're saying is, Zoe, I'd like to support you, but I want to get my money back.
Oh,
Which it's like saying I like your stuff, I want to see you make money, but I'm not really willing to completely part with my money for your product. I want to be able to write off my support for you.
Oh.
I mean, come on, y'all. It's really what it comes down to. So, and like I said, when you consider that, do people ask other people? Do they ask like, you know, the Blaze or any to become a nonprofit so they can write off their support for them? No. And y'all, and here's the thing, and I know this is a very controversial statement of mine to say, like with church, when people tithe, they tithe because, you know, they're expecting to write that off. Y'all, here's the thing. When you tithe, that's actually supposed to be a sacrifice. If you're writing it off, it's not really a sacrifice.
That's true.
That's why when I do this, y'all, this is why I want to keep it as privately owned as possible. I don't want to have to answer to the state on how I conduct this. Right? I answer to the Lord, and I want to keep my content accountable also to you. So you know, when I do this, I don't want to do it as a nonprofit. I don't want to do that. This is a free market venture. You know, so when you make a sacrifice, you know, when they brought their animals to be sacrificed to the temple, they didn't get their goat back at the end of the year. Okay, they didn't get their doves back. They didn't get their goats back. They didn't get their pigeons back, or whatever it was that they sacrificed. That animal is gone. It's a sacrifice. All right, you want the goods. It's like when you go into the store.
Right.
I want some peanut butter. I'm gonna sacrifice this $2 because I want the peanut butter. The store wants the $2.
Yep.
I'm going to sacrifice this $2 and get this peanut butter. All right? So it's the same thing with this content. If this content is worth anything to you, sacrifice, ideally $10 a month. You know, brother, take 5. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I need those 300 supporters at $10 a month to be able to keep this coming to you regularly. And y'all, and because of that, because there's no state middleman or anything like that to make it legal for me to you know, be on my P's and Q's, I have every incentive to act right because I'm not being subsidized by the state, and I can just behave however I want to, and maybe have some transvestite stripper come in here and stuff like that, and do it and say, hey, look at what I'm doing with your tax dollars. You know, I'm solving homelessness. You know, it's like, okay, I don't know what this transvestite, this transgender stripper has to do with homelessness, but I can definitely see why homelessness ain't getting solved, right? But because it's a private enterprise, you know, I got more incentive to be on my better behavior. You know, and of course, you know, people will say like, well, what about these other places that, like, say, for instance, like Chick-fil-A? That's a private enterprise. Yeah. And they're losing it, right? Yes. But once again, you can't just blame that on Chick-fil-A. The culture ain't stepping up. Yeah. Not conservative culture. We're not really, you know, all we're doing is we do too much darkness cursing instead of lighting a candle. We complain. Conservatives complain too much. We just complain. We don't compete. We talk about competition breeds excellence and all that sort of stuff. We just complain. That's what we do. We don't offer something else in the culture to compete with. We don't really support that. Yeah. All right? And that's why you'll have places like Chick-fil-A. It's like, man, who's really got our back? Yeah. Who really got us? We're just going to cave in. Right? That's what you know. Hallmark is caving in. Right? Why? Because we don't really do. And you know what? The thing is, that's more incentive to supply something else.
Amen.
Say, okay, well, you know, Hallmark ain't the only place on the planet that can provide Christmas-oriented content.
Yeah.
You know,
True.
We're Christians, ain't we?
Right.
Aren't we supposed to have the corner on Christmas? You know, shouldn't we be have our own production company that puts out entertaining stuff like this, where we don't have to capitulate to the selfish and self-righteous desires of men to put out good content? What's up with that? You know, why? It's like, man, it'd be great if we just, would just step up and support.
Yeah.
It's I don't know, man.
And provide alternatives.
I don't, and you know, and the thing is, it shouldn't even be the alternative. It should be the mainstream.
Well, you were talking about going into Spencer's yesterday.
You know, I mean, like, say, yeah, exactly. I don't know if you guys have heard of a store called Spencer's. Spencer's, you know, it's like, you know, a head shop and stuff like that. And they got all this kind of paraphernalia and, you know, and art and games and all that sort of stuff. But y'all, it's not for kids, you know. And I hadn't been in Spencer's probably like 10 years. I hadn't been in Spencer's since I became a Christian. Let me put it like that. All right.
What were you doing back there?
Well, I went to Spencer's because, you know, I was looking for. I'm gonna give this away. I'm gonna give away Carrie's Christmas gift. Carrie, you know, she wants to learn how to play chess. So I figured I would find a chessboard, but I wanted to find kind of like a fun chessboard, maybe a theme-oriented chessboard or something like that. And you know, like, you know, a chessboard of like cats. You know, all the figures are like cats.
Idea.
So, you know, and believe it or not, it's hard to find. You can find one cats and dogs, but I just want to find one cats, right?
But we love dogs too.
Yeah, we like dogs. All right, but so I dropped into Spencer's, man. I just wanted to see if they had a chessboard in there, and I'm telling you, man, it's like, man, I knew that, you know, Spencer's was a little racy, but I don't remember it being like this. I walked in, it didn't matter which way you turn, the F word flipping everywhere. Everything is F this, F that, F you just F, F,
wow.
Right? And the games, you know, the stuff that covers, you know, borderline pornography and stuff like that, debauched statements, you know, games that are oriented towards drinking and, you know, and everything is sex and all that sort of stuff, you know, and whichever, man, that's fine. But people just be walking in there with their kids.
Wow.
Just walking in there with kids, and everything for their kids, you know, for their 4-foot high kids is just right at 4-foot eye level for them to see just profanity and smut and all this sort of stuff. And they just walk in and out and like it ain't no thing.
Wow.
Right? So what am I gonna say? What am I gonna say? Hey, I see my I got some family in the house, man. I got my mom's up in here, Grace Kelly Potts. I got my sister up in here, Lisa. Right? So I got some fam up in here. Y'all all my fam right now. But you know, but we see this sort of stuff, man. And people don't think that. So I'm like, and me, instead of being frustrated, I'm just like, man. Well, I get frustrated because I'm like, you know what? I would love to be able to just, you know, produce, you know, stuff to counteract this, because they're gonna be who they are, y'all.
Amen.
But where's our production of something to interest the public? To say, hey, you know what? Why am I looking at this stuff? This is cool. This is cool. You know, we don't do that. We don't really support that. You know.
Yeah.
So. And it's a tragedy, man. It's tragic.
It is. It's sad.
You know, it's really sad. So at any rate, y'all. Now you guys might, if at this point, if I may, I would like to solicit some prayers, if I may. You guys might, it's you know, Carrie's, you know, she's tough, man. She's rugged, you know, but she's chiming in, but she doesn't feel very well. She doesn't feel very good. And I could definitely, we could definitely use your prayers. Hopefully, you guys will, you know, pray into Yeshua for her to feel better. You guys might be surprised to know this, but one of the reasons why she's not feeling so good is because she's actually going through withdrawals.
Yep.
Yeah, she's going through withdrawals. And it's like, you know, and it's one of those things that I've been trying to say for us, like, babe, that stuff's not good for you. It's I think you're addicted to that stuff, and you got to find something else. But the problem is there wasn't anything else. And what I'm talking about is this substance called kratom, right? Some of you guys may have heard of it. If you guys are trying to, you know, try to do a natural or homeopathic way to, like, you know, heal pain and stuff like that, different kinds of pain, nerve pain. There's a so-called natural, but it is natural because it's a plant, right? There's this stuff called kratom, okay? And for a little bit, it was working really good. It doesn't have, it's not, for anybody trying to take it for recreational purposes would be an idiot, okay? Because even if you tried to take enough of it to become like, to get any sort of good time out of it, you throw up. Right, you'll throw up before you can take too much of it, before you get like high or anything like that. It's you know, there's controversy about whether it's psychoactive or not. You know, like, you know how people like go with the cannabis and CBD and whatnot. The thing is, and I see somebody trying to say CBD. So appreciate the thought. It doesn't work. It doesn't work for Carrie. It's like as a topical, it works briefly.
Yeah, briefly.
But for how much it costs, she'd have to like bathe in it.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just like really bad nerve pain, guys. Really bad nerve pain. So the CBD only goes so far. But I appreciate the suggestion.
Yeah, thank you, Glennon.
But the kratom, this stuff is called kratom, worked great for a minute because of course Carrie doesn't want to be taking like any of the opioids.
No, and I don't.
She don't want to be taking
marijuana either.
She don't want to be taking anything. She don't want to have anything to do with marijuana. She does nothing like that. And none of this stuff it's interests her. Okay, she don't want to be addicted to any of that stuff, and she thought that kratom was a safe bet.
Yeah.
Okay, we thought kratom was a safe way to go. Unfortunately, and that's what people try to say. It's like they try to only promote the good things about it, and trying to find the negative things about it becomes kind of difficult.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to be all natural and stuff like that. But when the kratom wasn't, at some point wasn't doing the job, and I'm trying to tell Carrie, it's like, actually, babe, I think the kratom is contributing to the pain now, because if you don't take it for like so many hours, your pain starts to come back magnified. Yeah. And then here you are trying to get that kratom back into your system. That's addiction.
Yeah.
Okay? But Carrie wasn't addicted to anything about the kratom necessarily that made her like feel good or anything like that. She was addicted to the relief. Yeah. Right? That's why when liberals try to talk about like Rush Limbaugh and stuff like that, oh, he's a drug addict. It's like, no. Rush was addicted to relief. Right? He was trying to get back to a state of normalcy, not away from normalcy. That's a big difference.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so when you're taking like this, you get hooked on those drugs, or hooked on a substance that brings you relief, that's what you're just trying to just feel normal. Yeah. I just want to feel normal.
I need to get out of bed.
Right? I want to be able to get out of bed. Things like that.
Go to work.
So it's really hard. But at any rate, y'all, the kratom, be careful with it. If you have nerve pain or you got like chronic pain or anything like that, kratom, it did work. All right? But you can get hooked on it, Carrie.
Explain how you say it partners with the pain.
Yeah, that's just how addiction works. Addiction, in a nutshell, when you get addicted to something, your body's going to become physically dependent on it. If you deprive it of that, your body's going to get an attitude. Your body's going to do crazy stuff, right? And here's the thing, y'all, with addiction, addiction is almost even the habit of doing it is part of the addiction. Right? So even you get into the habit of doing it, and that even itself is hard to break. All right? So now with Carrie, I'm like trying to let her know, it's like, that kratom is making you, it isn't just relieving your pain. Now it is making you suffer. It's basically partnered with your pain. Right? And if you deprive your body of this kratom, it's going to make you suffer. It's not just the initial pain that you had. Now you're answering. You're not answering to the nerve pain or answering to maybe fibromyalgia or anything like that. You're not answering to that now. Now you're answering to the kratom.
Yeah.
The kratom itself is making you hurt, and from there you're gonna have to supply your body with the kratom to subside that, and then when that starts to taper off, it's gonna signal you again.
Yeah.
All right. She didn't see it. She didn't understand because she was the whole time she's thinking that it was the pain, that her initial pain.
Yeah,
that was it. I'm like, no, it's not the pain, it's the kratom. But of course, now did I put my foot down on it? No, because what else is there?
Yeah.
You go to the doctors, and what do they tell you? They don't tell you anything.
Guys, I spent over 7 years in Kaiser trying desperately to even just get physical therapy.
Uh-huh.
I asked for lidocaine patches, which certainly aren't addictive, and all I would ever get is go on an antidepressant for your pain.
Right.
That's all I ever got. And of course I tried that and it never helped, and I was just in agony for 7 years.
Yeah. It's like they don't do it. They wouldn't do anything. It's like, and it sucks.
They just ignore you, basically. They just want to throw antidepressants at you.
Yeah, sorry, but it gets me like really cynical about doctors. Like, what did you go to medical school for? Just for you can have a prestigious title or something like that. Just so you have the authority to tell them that there's nothing that they can do for you. It's like, what are you doing? And of course, that a lot of these doctors out there, they're liberal anyway. Except for, Carrie's mom, who's a doctor. She's an animal doctor. She's conservative. Right on. Right? Need more doctors like that.
Right.
But, too many out there, it's like, what are you doing? My mom, same thing. My mom going through the same thing. It's like, what are you telling her? You going to offer her something or not?
Right,
No, we're just going to get you hooked on it. And the weird thing is that they give you the drugs, and then when you get hooked on them, they make it practically impossible for you to get them again.
Right? Yeah.
It's like, this person needs something for pain. What you going to do for pain? Like, Carrie needs an MRI. Insurance, like, no. And it's like, insurance, who are you? You know, when did you become the authority on what people need or what they don't? The doctor's saying, hey, she could use the MRI. No, we don't think we want to pay for that.
Yeah.
What's up with that? You know, and then they wonder why people end up getting hooked on these drugs, because it's like you don't let the doctors, you know, it's like you wonder like who is doing what or who isn't doing what.
Crazy system.
It's a crazy system.
And I thought I was out of the medical system because of kratom. It was, you know, it was my answer, but it turned out not to be my answer.
Yeah. Yeah, and when they get what did they give you? They give you
tramadol.
Tramadol. Okay, so now Carrie.
Cymbalta.
Yeah, Carrie. This is when Carrie found out that she was addicted to kratom. When they gave her the tramadol, they said you're gonna just take this, and of course you're gonna have to stop using the kratom.
Oh, I took myself off the kratom.
Yeah, so she stopped using the kratom. Yeah. Within a day, Carrie was practically climbing the walls. she's
my
like,
body was spasming.
Yeah, it was.
Go to the ER.
Yeah, she had to go to the ER. Was tearing her up. When she realized, I'm like, babe, that's the kratom.
Yeah.
The kratom is doing that to you, and that's when she saw. It's like, oh my God, I've been addicted to kratom. I really didn't know. Sometimes you don't even know, right? So, but y'all, all that to say, could use your prayers, because Carrie is she's going cold turkey right now. Now that she knows what it is, she is straight up cold turkey. And she's sweating it out.
Raw pain.
Yeah, and she is in pain. All right, but she's here because the fellowship itself, in the name of the Lord, is healing for her.
Yes, it is.
So you know, I thank you guys because you guys are here. Your presence, you know, the Lord blessing us to have you guys here is very helpful to her. And yeah, but something's got to be, you know, done about, you know, the way this the medical industry and the insurance industry and all that sort of stuff is working, because it's nuts, y'all. It shouldn't be so hard, you know. And the thing is that people think that, you know, putting the government in charge of stuff like that and making it a law for everybody to have health care, you know, solves the problem. It's like, no, it doesn't. No, that's not how it works. All right. But at any rate, y'all.
Yeah. So guys, if my voice sounds really weak tonight, that's why.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, let's get into the word, man.
Yes.
Right. Right on. Okay. Let us invite whom I would reckon is already here, the Holy Spirit, in the name of our High Priest and King Yeshua. Lord, we trust in you to guide our study. We thank you so much for blessing us to have this fellowship, and we trust in you to help us make the best and the most of it, and that your truth just be on full display and shine, and that folks are inspired by what it is, you know, that we share tonight, and you know, help us to be effective salt and light, you know, for you, Father, and you know, do what we can to preserve this republic that you bless us with long enough for you to do what you alone know what to do, and in the grand scheme of things.
Yes.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you, Father.
Yeshua's name.
Yeshua's name.
Amen.
Amen.
All right. So we's at Acts 21, y'all. Let's see what we can get out of it. Let me pull up my notes. Okay. Actually, I want to kind of prop my book up here a little bit. I'm gonna prop my book up with the CD. It's like, yeah, that's all it's good for, is to prop your book up. No, it's good for playing. Make sure you play the CD. Play it loud. Electric Exodus, 20-pound sledge, and my book, A Solid Right Cross. You need that culture war coaching, y'all.
That's right.
From a Christian conservative artist. Okay, prop my book up. Let's get this read on. Okay. After tearing ourselves away from them and setting sail, that's pretty descriptive right there. After tearing ourselves away. Tearing ourselves away. So parting is such sweet sorrow. Right? I see my mom biting my rhymes. I see you bite my rhymes, Mom. I want my royalty check. There ain't no high like the Most High. That's a Zoe rhyme, you know that? Okay. But thank you for reminding the folks.
Amen.
After tearing ourselves from them and setting sail, I reckon, you know, self-explanatory, is very heartbreaking. Some translations just say after parting. They don't really dig into like what was actually said. It says after tearing ourselves away. Okay? Because after like I said, at the last chapter, it was talking about, you know, they may never see each other again.
Yeah. So
this was like really heartbreaking for them to bail out. Okay? We set a straight course to cause. And cause is going to mean summit. I reckon this cause is like the root word in the Greek, either probably Greek or Latin. I think it's the root word in like cosmos, as in all. right? Or the highest, or the summit, because Kos in here, it breaks down to summit. And this place, Kos, I think it's in the Aegean Sea, somewhere in the Mediterranean, and it's now called, Kos is now called Stanko.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Jeez. You just love that.
Where you from? I'm from Stanko. Yeah. All right. Man,
Is it falling today?
yeah, it's the devil trying to interrupt my flow. Okay. So they set off to Kos. The next day to Rhodes, and Rhodes is going to be Rose, right? And from there to Patera, and Patera is going to be trodden underfoot. Finding a ship, crossing to Phoenicia. Phoenicia means, I think, a house of date palms, or made of date palms. Let's see. Finding a ship, is crossing to Phoenicia. We went aboard and set sail. When we came in sight of Cyprus, Cyprus is going to be, Cyprus is fair and fairness, and not to be confused with Cypress, Cyprus, which means hardness, but Cyprus. All right, Cyprus is going to be fair or fairness. And passing it on the left, we kept sailing to Syria and landed at Tyre. So now when it says it passed on the left, hold up. Stop it, man. You're messing with me. All right, boom. No.
Honey.
It's gonna do that. Y'all just bear with me. It's gonna keep doing that. That's why I need a budget, man. Hold up. So I can get me a proper stand for this thing.
I just informed Brian. He said duct tape, LOL. I said he's using a chip.
Yeah, right? I'm practically using duct tape. Okay. So ghetto. The ZOpium Den is ghetto. Okay. All right. So passing by them. Now, when it says when we came in sight of Cyprus, passing it on the left, it doesn't really go in depth on like why, they passed it on the left. But the culture of that is when you pass it on the left, because what it means is we sighted the island of Cyprus and passed it on the left. What it means is the left side is associated with a bad omen. All right. Oh. So but here's the thing, because when they're sailing there, it's like, well, if you're gonna pass it on the left, and the left is, because remember, y'all, like my pilot that I tried to make, Sinisterbia. Reason why it's called Sinisterbia is because sinister actually means left, right? It's associated with evil. Sinister is associated with evil, and it's associated with what's on the left-hand side. That's why I use the term Sinisterbia. So, and like I said, left-wingers, sinister. Yeah. Anyway, but this right here, it says that they passed it on the left because the left is associated with bad omens. So why would they pass it on the left side?
Yeah.
Right? I would offer that the reason why they did it, knowing that that's what the culture, that was a strong standing culture, is that things on the left, is what they're saying is that, God is stronger than superstition.
Ooh.
That's my take on it. I don't know if that's true or not, but, I kind of like it.
Can I hold it, babe?
Your arm will get tired. Okay. So what's associated on the left-hand side? Anyway, let's keep on trucking. Let's see. We kept sailing to Syria and landed in Tyre. Tyre is going to be a rock. For there, the ship was to unload cargo. We looked up the disciples. We said, let's look up our homies, man. Get our text phone out. Start looking up their homies and stuff like that. And stayed there 7 days. They kept telling Paul, the Ruach, they kept telling Paul through the Ruach not to set foot on Jerusalem, because you got haters there, Paul. Mm-hmm. They hate you for true.
Real.
When our days were over, we parted and went on our journey. They all, with wives and children, accompanied us. Oh, what? You mean these holy folk? They got wives? Oh no, what's up with that? Okay. Parted and went on their journey. They all, with wives and children, accompanied us until we were outside the city. After kneeling down on the shore and praying, we said farewell to one another. Then we boarded the ship, and they returned home. When we had finished the trip from Tyre, we arrived at Ptolemais. And Ptolemais is going to be the warlike. The warlike. We greeted the brothers and sisters and stayed with them for 1 day. On the next day, we departed and came to Caesarea, or city of Caesar. We entered the home of Philip. Philip means horse lover, or loves horses. Okay? The proclaimer of good news, who was one of the 7, and we stayed with him. Now the man had 4 virgin daughters who did what? Prophesied. Oh no, I thought these girls were just supposed to sit down and shut up. You don't have any say in church business or anything like that. It's like, no, he had 4 virgin daughters who prophesied.
Aww.
Which means that you got to discern when you hear the word of God. Doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman. It could be a donkey.
That's true.
All right.
Yep.
If the word of God is speaking, you need to know and discern the truth. Okay. So he had 4 virgin daughters who prophesied. Oh, we're not supposed to listen to women. It's like, look, if it's the word of God, you better listen.
Yeah.
You got to have the discernment. It doesn't matter if it's a woman, man, donkey. Don't matter. Okay. So now the man, 4 virgin daughters who prophesied. While we stayed there for a number of days, a prophet named Agabus is meaning locust, the father's joy or feast, came down from Judea. He came to us, took Paul's belt, tied his hands and feet, and said, the Ruach HaKodesh says this: in this way shall the Jewish people in Jerusalem bind the man who owns this belt and deliver him into the hands of the Gentiles. So check this out. Even by doing that, y'all, that's kind of like a picture of Isaac. Bound his hands and feet. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Not only that, because, Isaac, he did this willingly. When Abraham, it's like Abraham didn't question nothing. He said, yeah, I'm coming up this hill, but I trust in my God. We're going to be coming right back.
Yeah.
All right.
Amen.
But Isaac didn't put up no struggle. Right. Was willing to do exactly what his father said, just the same way that Yeshua willing to do exactly what his father said.
Amen.
And in this right here, it's the same thing. Why is it significant that he took his belt? Because he's letting him know it's like he's not going to put up a struggle. It's going to be by his own belt, and it's going to be by his own will. And he binds his own hands and he binds his feet. Right? He didn't tell anybody else, hey, tie my hands and feet up.
True.
Because if somebody else ties you, unless you Houdini or something, you ain't going to be able to get out of it. Yeah. Right? Chances are you cannot break this tie. But if you tie your own self up, if you can tie yourself up, chances are you can untie yourself.
Yeah.
See, Paul wasn't going to do that. All right? What Paul is basically saying is like, look, man, I'm going in here freely. I could break this bind at any time. Mm-hmm. I don't have to do this.
Right.
Right? But by my own volition, in my service to my Lord, I'm doing this. All right, so that's the significance of him telling us, take your own belt and we're gonna tie it up just like this, because you're gonna go in there by your own volition, right?
And this is the Holy Spirit saying this,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. He's prophesying to him. So let me see. Deliver into the Gentiles. When we heard these things, both we and the local people urged Paul not to go up to Jerusalem. Don't go there, man. You got haters, man. You got haters there, man. Then Paul responded, "What you doing, man? Weeping and breaking my heart?" All right. So now to this, in this right here, when they're telling Paul not to go, right, man, don't go to Jerusalem, cuz don't go there, man. They're crazy. They're gonna kill you. This right here is like the same thing of when Peter was telling Jesus, "Oh no, man, not you. They ain't gonna kill you, right? No, we ain't gonna have that." And Jesus, what did Jesus say? "Back up off me, Satan. Get behind me," right? I gotta handle my Father's business. You're too caught up with the affairs of men over the affairs of God.
Yes.
And y'all, that's one of the problems that's the main problem that we have with humanity today, is that in our self-righteousness, we're too caught up with the affairs of what we think that is right according to us.
Yeah.
Right? As opposed to what's right, what God, we're caught up with what we think is right over what God knows is right.
That's good.
That's why, and like I said, y'all, that's why we have legalized abortion. Because you'll have people out there making a case, well, it's better that the kid be killed in the womb than to be born hungry. So also, wait a minute, you're going to give that kid the death penalty because they're going to be poor?
Oh.
Is that what you're saying to me? I mean, because you guys act like you care about the poor so much. Especially you liberals, you Democrats who are so rabidly pro-abortion. To where now you guys are like saying up until the point of birth, you can kill the, and they're fighting. I think they cleared it. Was it New York? I'm sorry. I think
New York.
Yeah, in New York. You can birth the baby.
Yep.
This ain't a new thing, y'all. This has always been. It's just cycles.
Yep,
We're back to those days again where you can kill your kid. You can give birth to your baby and then just have them killed. We knew that this was coming. This is infanticide. This is full-blown infanticide. That's where we are, right? The culture is finding this acceptable. So, what am I saying here? What was I saying, baby?
You were at, then Paul responded, "What are you doing breaking my heart?"
Right? Okay. So Jesus is like, look, man, you got to get behind me, because the things that you're telling me to do are according to the affairs of men. And that's why men will try to make the better case that, or so-called better case, that killing your kid is a better thing to do.
Yeah.
Better thing to do than anything else. Better than adoption. Better than, just pulling yourself together and getting yourself, just improving your situation. No, the better thing to do is kill your kid. Like, that's the compassionate thing to do. That's according to the ideals of men.
Yeah.
And of course, women. The
right.
feminists who feel like the better thing to do. It's like, oh, I'm a strong and independent and powerful woman. But despite them having the ability to take on the world, their life will be ruined by a kid. A baby can ruin their life. They can do everything a man can do, right? Women out there, we're strong, we're invincible, hear me roar and all that sort of stuff. Oh my God, I'm pregnant, my life is ruined. Right? A baby can destroy your life, right? So you'll destroy theirs first, right?
Oh, wow.
That's what it comes down to. So that's when you're caught up with the affairs of men over the affairs of God. You think that that's the right thing to do. And Jesus is like, no, you're caught up with the affairs of men as opposed to what God knows is right. That's satanic. All right?
Amen.
So Paul is like the same, is the same thing. It's like, man, don't make this harder for me than it already is. Yeah. This is already hard for me, man. Don't break my heart, man. I gotta do this. I gotta do this. Okay? Yeah. So, for I am ready not only to be bound, but to die for the name of the Lord Yeshua. Since he would not be persuaded, we fell silent, saying only, may the Lord's will be done. After those days, we packed and started going up to Jerusalem. Some of the disciples with Caesarea also went with us, bringing us to Nason of Cyprus. Nason, that is going to be a diligent seeker or exhorter. One of the early disciples by whom we might be hosted. Let's see, 17. When we arrived in Jerusalem, the brothers and sisters welcomed us gladly. On the next day, Paul went in with us to Jacob. All the elders were present. After greeting them, he reported to them in detail that God had done what God had done among the Gentiles through his service. And when they heard, they began glorifying God. They said, you see, brother, how many myriads there are among the Jewish people who have believed. And they all are zealous for the Torah, the law, the teaching of the law, right? Because that's what Torah means. It's like, it's not just, it's the law, but it's like the instruction. Like when you get down to what the Torah means, it's like the instruction, all right, the law. They have been told about you that you teach all the Jewish people among the Gentiles to forsake Moses, telling them not to circumcise their children or to walk according to their customs. What's to be done with them? No doubt they will hear that you have come. So do what we tell you. We have 4 men who have a vow on themselves. Take them and purify yourself along with them and pay their expenses. Paul like, what? What you mean? I gotta pay for that? Paul's like, gotta go out. He's gotta go all out, y'all, to earn some credibility. What's up, Miley? I see you, buddy. That's right. We'll catch up, huh? Okay. he's gotta have some street cred. So he's gonna have to flip the bill for all that sort of stuff. Okay? And they may shave so that they may shave their heads. That way, all will realize there is nothing to these things that have been told about you, but that you yourself walk in an orderly manner, keeping the Torah. So the thing is, y'all, it's not like what they heard about Paul was like wrong. Paul is he's been trying to let them know. It's like, you guys are still you're still conforming to a religion. Yeah. Okay, you're conforming to a tradition. You're conforming to these traditions, to these practices. Okay, you don't understand that Yeshua came to liberate us from religion. Amen. All right, Jesus is the original freedom from religion foundation. Mm-hmm. All right, that's what Paul is trying to tell them, but they don't understand that yet. Okay, yeah. It's like, okay, Jesus, right, we're with you, man, we're with you, but I don't understand how we're supposed to not keep doing these things if we're going to be righteous.
Yeah.
Okay? You know, what are we supposed to do? And remember, y'all, following the commandments of God isn't about what you do, it's about what you don't do.
That's true.
God listed out, these are the things that you do not do. But the reason why Jesus, you know, if I may reiterate, the reason why Jesus is the fulfillment of the law is because Jesus was able to do everything on the commandments out of love.
Amen.
Right? It all came out of love. You know, and so that's the difference where he comes in. It's like, it's love that drives me. No,
Yeah.
I'm not, it's not the law.
Thank you, Jesus.
You know, and Jesus, like, I really don't want to face the full force of the law.
Yeah.
I don't want to face, all right? Why? Because I'm driven by love. That is the fulfillment of the law. All right?
We're so blessed.
So, that's right. Thank you, Yeshua. And, let's see. Where was I at? I get sidetracked so easily. And, let's take it from 23. So what do we tell you? We have 4 men who have, we read through that. Keep it to the Torah. Let's get down to 25. All right. So, I'm at 25, y'all. But I just wanted to back up really quick. So Paul, once again, he's got to kind of go through these exercises to at least establish, to get from this point to the next point. It's like, okay, I'm going to have to play the role of still adhering to a religion. So at least I can like maintain some sort of credibility with them. And maybe from there, maybe I might be able to impress upon them that y'all were liberated from these things.
Yeah.
We don't, Yeshua liberated us. So you guys haven't quite understood that yet.
Yeah.
Okay? But for now, he's just going to have to, play the role of how, he was as a Pharisee. All right? That's what they respect him for.
Yeah.
Okay? As for the Gentiles who have believed, however, we have written by letter what we decided for them to abstain from what is offered to idols, and from blood, and from what is strangled, and from immorality. Now, those things, of course, regardless of which, those things you want to abstain from. It's like, oh, Paul, yeah, I can deal with that, man. Of course, we're not supposed to do that at all, right? But the other religious practices that you guys are like doing, it's like, no, you don't have to do that anymore. Yaha, Paul, yaha. Okay. All right. From then abstain from offered idols, and from blood, and from what is strangled, and from immorality. The next day, Paul took the men, purifying himself. And I know those things seem kind of like, what's weird with that, man? What is offered to idols, and from blood, and from what is strangled? Why is, they're kind of morbid things to mention, but like, what's the problem with them? Well, idolatry, y'all. Here's the thing when it says what's offered to idols. The thing about what's offered to idols, y'all, is because in the pursuit of what people think that they'll be gratified by, what they think that is that their gods will offer them, there's no end to what they'll offer their gods. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Okay? Including human sacrifice. That's why God's like, no, nip that in the bud. If you sacrifice to idols, I don't care what it is. God's like, I want you killed.
Yeah.
Okay? Because you will cause wholesale death trying to appease your so-called gods. And that's why, like, when God sent the Israelites to ride on these cultures and stuff like that, like the Canaanites and stuff like that, because they were sacrificing babies, virgins. It's just detestable practice. They were having like orgy worships and stuff like that, disease spreading practices of what they would do to satisfy their so-called gods. That's why with God's like, idolatry, don't do it. Don't go there. Okay. And then from there, let's see, and from blood, because people, they would, drink blood and stuff like that. Remember we was talking about the other day when, and people still do this today. You still have some crazy people out there today. If you got kids present, this is a little, more of the, not rated R, but it's, not for kids. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You kids got your ear. Okay, when people are talking about like drinking menstrual blood,
yeah,
right? You still got people trying to make it. You got these feminists out there making the case that there's healing powers in drinking menstrual blood. All right, that's what this is talking about. All right, so and that puts us on par with animal behavior. We're not animals.
Yeah.
All right, we're organic creatures, right? But we're not animals. We have the capacity to reason and be discerning with things like that, and that's something that you just don't do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to talk about, there's, vitamins or what is, you can find nutrition in boogers, okay? Doesn't mean that you're supposed to eat them, all right? So anyway, let's see.
There's a quote.
Right? and from what is strangled. So strangulation, y'all, that's an inhumane one. It's inhumane to kill an animal that way. It's inhumane to strangle an animal to death. The other thing is that it's unhealthy. It makes for unhealthy meat to eat an animal that has been strangled. Okay, the animal has to be bled out. That's why the animal has to be slaughtered. All right, so while animals being slaughtered, it's blood, it's the adrenaline and stuff like that. The heart is pumping and it pumps the blood out of them. Blood that stays in an animal, the putrefaction that comes out of that, it's just it's not wholesome to eat meat that still has blood in it. You want to let as much blood out of the meat as possible. The next day, Paul took the men, purifying himself along with them. He went into the temple, announcing when the days of purification. Oh, you can let your kids back now.
Oh, jeez. Probably.
Announcing when the days of purification would be completed, and the sacrifice would be offered for each one of them. Okay? When the 7 days were about to be completed, the Jewish leaders from Asia saw Paul in the temple and began stirring up the whole crowd. They grabbed him, shouting, "Men of Israel, help! This man who is teaching all men everywhere against our people and the Torah and this place. Besides, he has even brought Greeks into the temple and defiled this holy place. For they had previously seen Trophimus," I think that's associated with the word Troy. Troy, Trojan, because Trophimus is basically where we get the word trophy, and I think it means Trophimus. It's like the connotation of it is one who has done well with adoption, like you were adopted and you fared well from it. I think that's Trophimus, the Ephesian, in the city with him, and they assumed that Paul had brought him into the temple. The whole city was stirred up. So it was like Antifa was out there. Yeah, Antifa and BLM. The whole city, they grabbed Paul and dragged him out of the temple. And the gates were shut at once. It's like a horror movie. It's like, they dragged him out. And the gates closed behind him, right? Wow. So it's a horrific scene. Because basically what it's saying, if they bring you out of the city, because you know how it is. Yes. What did God say in the Old Testament? Yep. Drag him outside of the city gates.
And stone him.
Right? Yeah. And that means your life was done. Yeah. Right? This is a throwback to how it went down in the Old Testament. We're going to drag you out of the city, shut the gates behind you, and you will never see the city alive again. Wow. Right? That's this horror scene right here. Right? So the gates were shut at once. As they were trying to kill him, news came from the commander of the cohort that all Jerusalem was in chaos. Immediately, he took soldiers and centurions and rushed down. It's like an episode of Cops. Yeah. So here come the centurions. Bad boys, bad boys. What you gonna do? We gotta go break up a riot, son. Right? Okay, they're gonna go break up this riot. Where was I at? See, I lost my place trying to be cute again. Okay, and rushed down to them. Upon seeing the commander and the soldiers, they stopped beating Paul. What? We ain't doing nothing. Yeah. Oh man, we just having fun with Paul. Mm-hmm. That's all, man. Why you fronting, man? What you gonna do with that pepper spray? Put that away, man. Don't tase me, bro. Okay. All right. So leave Paul alone. All right. So then the commander came up and arrested Paul, ordered him to be bound with 2 chains, and began investigating what he had done. And actually, it's like because I imagine it's like they do that, and then here come like Al Sharpstein, like showing up. He's like, man, we got to do something about this Jew on Jew crime, because they Jews, right? They're all Jews, and it's like they're so angry at Paul for daring to preach the word of God. Remember, y'all, the first Christians were Jews, but according to the Jews, if you became a Christian, you were no longer Jewish. You weren't worthy anymore, right? So they was ready to kill you for that, right? Put you to death, just like they were doing with her Paul, right? They was gonna kill him. So Paul ordered him to be. They arrested Paul, ordered him to be bound with 2 chains, and began investigating what he had done. Some in the crowd shouted one thing, and some another, as he could not determine the facts because of the uproar. He ordered him to be brought into headquarters. When he came up the steps, he had to be carried by the soldiers because of the violence of the crowd. For the multitude of the people followed kept shouting, "Away with him," which also breaks down to kill him, get rid of him, kill him. All right. As Paul was about to be brought into the headquarters, he said to the commander, "Yo, man, can I tell you something? I got a secret." All right. And when he said that, evidently he must have said that to the soldier in Greek, because the commander says, "You know Greek?" All right. Doesn't say that Paul said it to him in Greek. It just, Paul just makes a statement, and the guy's like, "You know Greek?" All right. Then, and so the commander says, "You know Greek? Then you're not the Egyptian who stirred up a rebellion some time ago and led 4,000 men of the assassins out to the desert?" So, hold up. Okay, so this is after, following the crowd. They get the crazy crowd out there, and the crowd is all like, "Uh-oh, 5-0 coming. Let's bail, cuz." Okay, so they trip because the officers are coming. They're going to tape him up the steps, and then Paul says this to them in Greek, and they ask them, "Aren't you the Egyptian?" Because obviously they mistook Paul for somebody else. They thought that Paul was a terrorist that they were looking for earlier, because he had escaped. Right? So there was like an insurrection, so to speak. Yeah. There was going to be some violence. This guy who was like, I think he was posing as the Messiah. They chose him. It's like, Jesus warned about it. It's like, look, there's going to be people coming, trying to, pose as me, or trying to come in my name, or try to say that they're messiahs. Don't believe them. Well, this was one of them. Okay, wow. So this guy, I think, was an Egyptian, or it says right here, they're asking. It's like he was an Egyptian, right?
4,000 people,
right? And I guess according to like people like Josephus or anything like historians and stuff like that, they said it was more. And this says 4,000, but it could have been like maybe 20,000.
That's true. Yeah.
All right, he led a big horde, right? He led a big horde, and that's who they thought Paul was, because I don't think they ever found the dude, right? So, then you're not the Egyptian who stirred up a rebellion. Okay, read that. Paul said, "I am a Jewish man from Tarsus in Cilicia, a citizen not insignificant of a no significant city. I beg of you, let me speak to the people." When the commander had given him permission, Paul stood on the steps and motioned to the people with his hand. When there was a great hush, he spoke to them in Aramaic. Saying. All right, y'all. Your Bible probably carries on to the next chapter. I got the Hebrew, the Jewish, the Messianic Bible. So it might stop there where yours kind of continues, but you got to read your Bible like I read mine.
Honey.
Mine's better. It's the Hebrew Bible, and not only that, it's signed by Colonel Allen West.
Definitely better.
That's why you have to read along the way I read mine. All right, y'all. Y'all can tell Colonel Allen West that I'm still bragging about that too.
Yep.
All right, y'all.
Poor Glynis. She heard a dog get killed by coyotes during the show. I told her we used to live by coyotes, and I know what that's like. You know what that's like.
Because man,
it's hard.
They're kind of ruthless, because they celebrate that, they party.
Yeah, they do.
It's like they be out there, we killing this dog. Yeah. It's kind of sad, and but
you can see where we used to live. You could see coyotes leading like cute little dogs to their death.
Yeah,
it was horrifying.
They're I mean they're some murderous dogs. Yeah. They're it's like when you see a pack of coyotes, they should call a pack of coyotes a murder, right? Instead of crows. They call crows like a murder of crows. No, you need to call a gang of coyotes a murder, because that's what they do. They out to murder things.
Exactly.
Not just hunt and eat things. Coyotes go out to murder things. Yeah. All right? They're just murderers.
Yeah. Honestly, I used to think they're cute because, they are canines, but...
Yeah, I mean, maybe...
But seeing them kill other canines kind of broke my heart, so...
But, I guess if you get a coyote by itself and raise it, it might make for a cute dog or anything like that. It's still wild. Bite the crap out of you at some point, but I don't know. It's, they're a gang. Coyotes are a gang. They hoods.
Sure are.
Coyotes are hood, man.
So, just... couple of questions.
Yeah.
I ain't able to hold up long. So, Lot Grandison Wren, where can I find your study on the birthday of Jesus?
I think it's on my Facebook. If you go to my Facebook page and click videos, I think maybe if you and you can, it'll say all of them. I think it's probably about maybe like 4 videos back, and it'll say the birth of Jesus revealed. And it's And y'all, of course I know that people are going to disagree. People are going to disagree with everything. But, you know, it's like, when it's like, man, it's sometimes a surprise to me. Let me dial that back. Why am I even saying that? That's I admit that's dumb for me to say, because even Jesus is like, seriously, are you going to disagree with me on this? And dude, I'm God. It's like, but Jesus, you know, it's like, oh, whatever, man. I guess you did. Okay, you won't nail me to a cross. Okay, I guess you disagree. You disagree with me, right? But you know, but it's weird when Jesus is like pointing them right to scriptures, like, you gonna disagree with me on that? Really? You know, and I'm telling people, it's like, yeah, man, the birth date of Jesus is the 16th of IR, which corresponds to the 16th of April. Now, people say that the Gregorian calendar doesn't match with the Hebrew calendar. It's like, yeah, but guys, the seasons are the same. All right, it's still the same seasons, and it's still gonna be. You're still gonna have like a very, you know, you're gonna have a pretty small margin of error in there of like what the days line up as. Sure. So you know, basically you can say that Jesus was born in the proximity of the month of April around the 16th, at least the week of the 16th in the month of April. But according to the Hebrew calendar, his birthday is specifically the month of IR, 16th. IR 16th. That is the date that Jesus was born. Once again, and thanks again for asking, y'all, or asking, and you know, I'll just reiterate, you know, really quick. You know, basically, Jesus is pointing back and letting you know in a very controversial way that, yeah, I'm the bread. I'm the bread that came down from heaven. When did that happen? That happened in the 16th of IR, right? It was a specific day. So Jesus keeps referring, and he's telling you, I'm the bread, eat my flesh. And he makes these very controversial statements to let you know that that's when he was born. Mm-hmm. And not only that, plus that, it tells you 6 months when Mary conceived. Yeah. 6 months from the time that Mary conceived, in the 6th month, no, you got Elizabeth, but it also says that, and it doesn't say specific, because people say, well, it was the 6th month of Elizabeth's pregnancy. The Bible doesn't really say that. That's an insertion, all right, just to try to give people a timeline, but the Bible doesn't say that it was the 6th month of Elizabeth's pregnancy. It just says the 6th month. All right, and the 6th month, I think it's going to be Elul. I think it's Elul, right? Either Elul or Tishri. Forgive me, my Hebrew's
Jason, let us know.
It's not particularly fantastic, but when you count from that 6th month, you go 9 months, you will end up in IR. That's when Jesus was born. Conception, right? 9 months later, you're going to end up in IR. And y'all, not only that, where was Jesus born? Jesus was born in Bethlehem. And what does Bethlehem mean? Bethlehem means house of the bread.
Amen.
You know, how far we got to go to let you know that Jesus, when he says that, yeah, dude, I'm the bread. I came to you as the bread of heaven on this day to let you know when I would be coming. I was born in the 16th of IR. I was even born in a place called a house of the bread. What more do you need? All right. So all that to say, y'all, we have December 25th. It's great that we can just celebrate that Jesus was born. It's not about the date.
Yeah, amen.
It's just the fact. We're just celebrating the fact that he was born. But the birth date is not only it's one thing that for it to be wrong, and y'all, that's not the big focus, because once again we're just celebrating the fact that he was born. But the Bible tells us, the Bible told us when he was born, but we've ignored that and made our own date. But however, what's important about that is that even though, but what happened is that it's a pagan holiday was co-opted. All right, that's what it comes down to. It's celebrating Saturnius and stuff like that. It's these Greek, Roman Greco myths that people are adhering to, and in these pagan practices, y'all. The Lord tells us to take dominion. All right. We're supposed to co-opt these things. This thing that people had an interest in, Jesus like, yeah, I want you to take away from that interest. Not be an alternative, but to become the mainstream. And we're going to co-opt that holiday. Yeah. And we're going to celebrate my birthday on that day. All right? So, you know, that's kind of what we're supposed to do. But the thing is, once again, and I don't know, you know, there could be different incentives or motivations that surrounded that whole thing. Basically, all I'm trying to say is, y'all, is that the Bible tells us the exact day that Jesus was born. All right?
Cool. He's asking a lot, Granderson Rennigan. Looking on Page and Post, do you remember the date you posted it?
Oh.
Gosh, I don't.
I want to say this, the 2nd. December 2nd. I think it's when I posted it. Yeah.
Okay. L. Thomas Boise. Hey, Zoe, please tell everyone that we're talking about what we're talking about with the movie we're discussing.
No, you tell them. No. Yeah, you know what? And thank you, Thomas, man, because, you know, we keep talking about we need to introduce stuff in the culture. We got to introduce something interesting and, you know, engage in storytelling and productions and whatnot. So, you know, Thomas and I have been, been going back and forth, you know, pitching ideas, you know, because, the Bible is just, it's not just rich with, you know, story, you know, because people do, you know, they do, you know, Bible-based stories and stuff like that. And they kind of make it just, you know, it's epic in its way, but, you know, needs more like some grit, you know, add some, you know, just give it a real vehicle of excitement, some eye candy and stuff like that without compromising the word. That's what we're trying to get to. We want to make it, you know, exciting. We want to make it engaging. We want to just pull out the intrigue. You know, we want to pull out the action, you know, suspense and stuff like that. We really want to, you know, make it a really engaging, engrossing cinematic piece, right? Without deviating from Scripture.
Right.
That's for Bronze Serpent Media. That's the objective.
Yes.
You know, make these productions, keep the integrity of them with style and guts. Right. That's what we want to do. So we've been talking about doing a story. This is Thomas's, you know, brainchild right here. And, you know, he, you know, brought it to me and I like the idea. He wants to do it surrounding the two witnesses. Right. So these witnesses are going to come in and you read, you know, about the two witnesses. They hardcore, you know, and we want to bring in, you know, this, you know, and just include a lot of things into, you know, the discussion of who were they? You know, where they was it Moses? Was it Elijah? Was it Enoch? You know, these things that people disagree on, and all that could be part of the intrigue and trying to solve who are they? You know, because they don't seem to say who they are. You know, and just in the Bible it doesn't say who they are, and just like in the movie, it doesn't exactly say who they are, and it's going to keep people guessing. Who are they? Right?
That's cool.
So you know, things like that. It'll include these facets from the Bible. And try to keep it true to form, not take any liberties. You know, of course there'll be like, you know, creative liberties, you know, to push the story. We'll take creative liberties, yes. Scriptural liberties, no. Right? And if there is anything, it may seem like where things are out of place or something like that, only once again to drive the story, but they'll be squared up. Even if it's something that's set out of place, it'll be squared up right here to put it back into place. Right? So like I said, you know, the Bible is filled with amazing stories. Not only are these stories, but these are things that really happened, right? And things that are really gonna happen. So, you know, and the Bible is a prime example of truth being stranger than fiction.
Right, yeah.
Right? The Bible's just full of it.
Yeah.
It's full of just truth that's, wow. You know, this happened? Yeah. Is this gonna happen? Yeah. And we want to do what we can to illustrate these things. You know, put it up where it's just people can just like soak it in with their imagination. Yeah. Because that's what a lot of the culture is given over to, y'all.
Amen.
Imagination. We want to use imaginative vehicles to tell them the truth. And get it into them that way. Yes. Sometimes you got to take the pill and, you know, you got to put it in a piece of candy or something like that. You know, as the song goes, just a teaspoon of sugar helps the medicine go down, right? You know, that's what we're trying to do. You know, I don't want to eat that apple. It's boring. Give me that apple. Give me some strawberries. Ooh, here's a smoothie. Ooh, a smoothie. You're still getting that fruit and strawberries. Okay, you're still getting some fruit and stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? That's what we're trying to do.
Nutrition.
Right? That's what we're trying to do. All right, y'all. Well, thank you for tuning in to the ZOpium Den. You guys rock. You help make the ZOpium Den the awesome.
The awesomeness.
I just made a new word for you. That awesome sounds even more awesome than awesome.
That's true.
Awesome. That is awesome, bro. All right, you guys make it awesome. Father in heaven, thank you so much for blessing us with this fellowship.
Yes.
And I pray for the Holy Spirit to be with all who are listening, and that you shine through them, and that they inspire everybody that they come in contact with, that your word is healing to them, and that we're just effective and fruit bearing for you, Lord. And just want to point people, we want to be effective at pointing people to you.
Yes,
Thank you, Lord. In
Thank
Yeshua's
you.
name.
Yeshua's name.
Amen.
Amen.
Good night, y'all.